What's up everyone, and welcome back to my channel, and also today's product review and unboxing video. So today we'll be taking a look at the FLSUN V400 3D printer. Now I'm so excited to be sharing with you this unboxing and review of this printer today. I've been eagerly waiting and anticipating its arrival, and now that it's here, it's time to see what it can do. So stay tuned. Now I myself am still new to the 3D printing landscape, but when it does come to 3D printing, every day is exciting and new, and I'm learning something new every day. Now for those of you that are not familiar with the FLSUN brand, they're a well-known company in the 3D printing industry. They're known for producing high quality and affordable 3D printers. This V400 is their latest addition to their lineup of 3D printers, and I have to say, it looks like they've really outdone themselves this time. Not only is it fast, but it is amazingly accurate. Now for the past several months, I've been using the Bamboo Lab X1 Carbon, and like most people, I'm loving it. Not only is it fast, but it's extremely accurate. For me, the only downside of that printer is the size of the print bed, which is already on its own pretty large. Now that being said, the main reason why I picked up this FLSUN V400 is because of the bed size, and also because it's almost as fast as the Bamboo Lab X1C. Almost, but not as fast. And that's something that I was looking for because I'm starting to print most of my hydroponic towers using these 3D printers. So I want something that's capable of printing fast, accurately, but also something that has a big print bed because I'm needing to print some large items as well. So with that in mind, let's start by taking a look at this package and also unboxing it to see what we get. Now I will say though that the FLSUN V400 does come in a very large, sturdy, and very heavy box. In fact, it was very tough to get it on this table. So let's go ahead and unbox this and see what's all inside. Okay, and because the box is very big, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to capture everything on both of these cameras. So I'll try my best to show you the components and the accessories and everything that comes in the box itself. So everything does seem to be sealed and sterilized, as well as protected by this heavy foam material. I don't know if I should try to lift this out of there, or I'm just going to cut the plastic itself. Okay, and I'm not sure if this is upside down or... Okay, I'm feeling this might be upside down. Okay, so let's flip this over. Okay, take two. Okay, this is the right side up because instructions are on the top. All right, so there is a spec sheet. Looks like this is certificate number. Lets you know that it's been certified and that all the components are in this packaging. So we'll just put this aside. Okay, and again, we'll cut the plastic. All right, again, all the components are protected by this foam. All right, so you do get an instruction manual, I guess, for assembly, setup, and usage. Talks a little bit about the slicer software as well. It's a pretty thick and heavy book. You've got your components and accessories. You've got your screws. What is this? Grease. So extra parts and stuff, I guess. So you do have that. Okay, we'll put that aside. Looks like the power cable itself. So power cable. Standard PC looking power cable. More components or accessories and screws. Looks like the filament holder. Yeah, the filament holder. Okay, so these look like the carbon fiber poles that hold the print head. And these are the side bars for the printer itself, which are pretty heavy themselves. And inside these bars you do have the rubber tracks, and then the motor itself is attached to these as well. Okay, we'll take this out. Okay, and this is the magnetic print bed, which is extremely large and comes with a PEI textured plate, which is something that I've started using and I love because it holds on to the filament and it's easy to clean off, and you know, it doesn't stick too much. So I'm glad I've switched to that. And a lot of you also recommended that I switch to that plate, so thank you very much for that recommendation. So let's see if I can get this out. Okay, so as you can see, this is the print bed, and it is huge. It is made up of this aluminum material. But yeah, so this is the print bed itself, or the component and the base of the unit. It's got the power button on the back. You can switch between 230 to 115 depending where you're located. So yeah, but it's got some weight to it, so you know it's going to hold this thing up. Okay, and this is the top part of the printer itself. So this is where all the electrical and hardware is. This is where the electrical components, motherboard, and the brains of this printer are. So yeah. Okay, looks like this has got a LED lit FLSUN logo. But yeah, looks like the Superman symbol without the S on it. Forgive me, I've been watching a lot of DC movies and cartoons lately, so that's exactly what it reminded me of when I first looked at it. Okay, this is, I'm not sure what this component is. Oh, this looks like it's the stand for the LCD screen that comes with this, I believe. Yeah, so this is the LCD screen stand for the FLSUN V400. This looks like the print head itself with the long cable on it. And the print head itself does have 3 LED strips on it, so it's probably going to light this up pretty well. So yeah, this is the, looks like the extruder and the print head. Now the fans, there are 2 fans on this print head. But a lot of people have complained that these might be a little bit too small, especially, you know, at the higher temperatures, but you know, we'll see how well this thing works when we get it all set up. Okay, so I'm going to put that aside very carefully. All right, so this looks like the bed leveler. Okay, so one thing that I guess is different for me and something that I have to get used to is this bed leveler itself. Coming from the X1 Carbon, where it uses the existing print head to level the bed, this one instead you attach it to it, you level the bed, and then you take it off. And because the bed and the base does not move, you probably only have to level the bed once in a while. So I mean, that's what's good about that, but I'm not too excited about the fact that you have to put the bed leveler on and then take it off when it's done. I wish it could have all been included on the print head itself. And that's just me being picky because, you know, I've come from the X1 Carbon where I'm, I guess, a little bit spoiled. So this is the bed leveler component that you attach to the printer itself. Okay, and then you do get one set of print filament, which is a smaller spool. So thank you for that, but I guess it would have been nice if we came with a larger spool of print filament than just this small one. But, you know, it is, I think this is PLA material, so thank you for the filament. But for me, you know, I've got a ton within my cabinet, so not too worried about that. But again, it would be nice if you got a larger sized amount of print filament instead of just this small spool. Yeah, I'm not really sure what this is. Oh, this is probably the extruder itself, I want to say. But we'll see. We'll put that aside. Okay. Okay, and then of course, I think this is the last piece that's in here, but this is the LCD screen, which again is nicely packaged in a perfect little Ziploc bag, which actually fits it very nicely. So I'll probably hold on to that plastic bag for storage purposes. But this is the LCD screen, and on the top of it there is the SD card slot. And then you do have the capability of plugging in devices to it, or USB devices to it, or connecting this to two other V400 or even their previous printers and controlling up to 3 printers with this LCD screen. So that's what I heard this LCD screen is capable of. So that's something that's pretty nice. Okay, now just to make sure there aren't any other components in here. Okay, so that looks like that's all for here. So I'm going to get rid of this box. We'll just make sure. Just going to get rid of this box and get it out of the way so we can assemble the printer. Okay, so as you can see, with the packaging, as expected, is everything you need to get started, which is always a bonus. So the V400 itself is a large, sturdy, and well-built machine. The printer bed space measures 400 meters by 400 meters by 400 meters, making it one of the largest 3D printers on the market. Now when it comes to the frame, the components are made up of a high-quality aluminum extrusion, giving it a solid and reliable feel. And as mentioned previously, the build volume is massive. Now, in addition to being massive, this print bed also heats up so that it ensures consistent and reliable adhesion for all of your prints. Now, one of the standout features of this FLSUN V400 3D printer, aside from its size, is its user-friendly interface. In fact, the touchscreen display itself is easy to navigate, and the printer comes with a simple-to-use clipper slicer software. That software is compatible with Windows, Mac, and Linux, so you really don't have to worry about compatibility issues. In addition to that, the printer also has Wi-Fi connectivity, so you can easily transfer files and also monitor any of your prints from the PC, smartphone, or your tablet. Now, another great feature about the FLSUN V400 is its dual gear direct drive extruder system. This allows you to print ultra fast and also gives you even more creative freedom. The extruder system is also easy to change and maintain, making it a breeze to switch out filaments. So a majority of this video will be assembly of this printer. So if you want to skip that or even check out some other sections, then I'll leave chapters in the description below. But once I'm done assembling it, we're also going to test this thing out to see how well it prints. This video is purely going to be my unboxing and my first time use and first impressions video of this FLSUN V400 3D printer. Now in terms of performance, the FLSUN V400 is a beast. It's capable of printing at speeds of up to 400 millimeters per second. And based on what I've seen in other reviews, the results are pretty stunning. The prints are precise with a smooth surface finish, and the level of detail is simply amazing. Okay, so with that in mind, let's go ahead and assemble this beast of a printer and see how hard or easy it is. Now for ease sake, I'm just going to face this towards me. Then let's go ahead and get started. So first I'm going to start with the instructions. And this is a pretty nice booklet, I must admit. All right, so we've got the top shell, we've got the bottom shell, we've got the 3 axes, we've got the effector module, which I guess is the print head. Parallel arms, we've got those right here. We've got the filament holder, which is back there, the pad or LCD screen, got the leveling switch. Okay, so that plastic piece right here. So this is the filament detector sensor. Okay, we've got the power cord, which they call a power line. Do we have, it says we have pliers. So we've got our pliers, which is pretty nice. It comes with some tools. So you've got a wrench set, got your pair of pliers, got a wipe cloth, got your mini screwdriver, U-disc. Does it come with a USB too? I did not see a U-disc. Okay, so it says it's supposed to come with a U-disc, which I guess is a USB drive. Here it is. So it does come with a 4 gig, I think this is a 4 gig USB drive, which is pretty nice looking. Okay, so assembly instructions, you're going to want to turn it on its side, so I'm going to have to move most of this stuff again. Okay, so assembly-wise, take out shells and place them vertically on the desktop. The top shell FLSUN logo. Okay, so the FLSUN logo goes this way. I guess it goes this way. If you look at it, the FLSUN logo is a little slanted here, so I'm just following the exact diagram in the picture, but it may not really matter, but you know, for safety's sake, I'm just going to follow the picture exactly. And you're going to want to get one of the legs. Okay, is the motor at the top or the bottom? Okay, I guess the motor is at the top. Okay, so Y. There's a Y symbol. So Y, and then inside the parts it should say Y as well. So Y cable's here, and then Y on the motor itself. So you know, you'll want to follow it. Okay, before you plug it in, I think you got to connect the connector. Okay, so the Y axis is connected. And I think you just drop it in, is that right? Okay, just drop it in place. Okay, so there are some little knobs in there that should fit there into the grooves themselves. Okay, so then we need to get this screws, 8 M5 screws. Are these the M5s? Four. It would have probably been smart to assemble this on the floor, but I didn't do so, so I'm gonna just stick with assembling this up here and hope that everything goes well. Okay, normally I'd use a power tool for this, but because I can't see over it, I'm not going to. Okay, so that's one pillar down. Let's go for, I guess, let's see if it's the next one. Okay, so it says to pass this Y connector down through the pole itself. Now this is something that I heard was very difficult to do in other review videos, and I would assume it probably is. So we'll see how hard or easy it is for me to pass this cable down the length of this pole, the Y connector itself, because this is what's going to connect to the LCD screen. Oh, and it's already getting trapped on something. And there's so much that you have to pass through. So I'd try to straighten everything as much as you can before you pass this through there. There's no way to do it from the bottom. And it's complicated because every time I stop, it just gets stuck somewhere. Okay, so what I was thinking would be a good solution to running this wire through this pole is probably that long bar thing that people use to run wire in the back of the walls. But if you're like me and you don't have one of those or can't find it, then the next best thing is a spool of string, thread, yarn, or anything long, because this might be easier to send all the way through. So I'm going to attempt this and see how hard or easy it is. So I guess first I'm going to fish some of it through this wire and spool it a little bit and then fish it through. I mean, I could also attach like a piece of metal to this and maybe use a magnet, but then this thing is also aluminum, to see if I can fish it all the way through. But I'm going to attempt this first and see how well this works. mean, it does look pretty smooth and flat all the way through, so, you know, but this thing does twist a little bit. So we'll just keep fishing and hopefully it'll move forward. And it's not, it's just stopping. So I guess let me try my magnet idea. Just going to attach this bolt to it. Okay, so now that we've got the bolt tied onto this nylon thread, we're going to put it inside. And we have these hook magnets. These are high-powered magnets that we use when we go on cruises. So we stick to the wall and it allows us to hang a lot of stuff on the walls. We use this magnet to pull the nylon through. And there you go, pulled it all the way through. So if you don't have one of those cable pull rods for cables, then this is definitely a good option. Okay, and then I'm not sure if I should tie off the other end or if I should just, because I might want to use this again. So let me see. So I'd probably have to agree with everyone else that this part is probably the most complicated part for now of setting this printer up. You know, hopefully this is easier for some of you than, you know, than it is for most of us, at least, going through this. Okay, so looks like I got the wire through. It feels like it's twisted. I don't like how it's twisted though. And that's just me being a little bit of OCD. So cable is through. And I'll just untie this bolt. Okay, so that was my solution for getting that cable through. Again, you know, there's a couple of other options you have. You could either use the wire pull, the electrical or wire pull for carpenters and wire electricians, or you can use fishing swine or something else, but you know, whatever you can do to make it a little bit easier to fish that wire through that bar itself. So good luck to the rest of you, but that probably is going to be the more complicated part of this setup and install, I think, for now. And in the instructions it does say to put the legs on first, but I kind of skipped that part, so now I'm going to put the other legs on. So let's see how I'm going to turn this over. So this is XX and this is X. Okay, so the good thing is these are labeled. So this is the X motor for this X side. And again, we'll attach this cable. So there is this little cable here that plugs into the motor itself. Okay, again, the bolts go in there. And then the last side, which would be the Z-axis. So Z-axis. Okay, so that last bar was by far the most difficult one of the structures to install. But nothing was as complicated as feeding that cable through that first bar. So you're going to want to use some power tools or a different screwdriver set to get these last screws in. Because one thing I hate about these is they'll definitely cause some blisters on your hand, these kits right here. But it's pretty nice that you do get a little kit for these hex tools. Okay, so once those bars are put on, let's see what's next. Okay, we've passed the cable through. Install the parallel on the slider. Okay, parallel arms. So they really cut down the words when they were setting this up. I guess we have to stand the printer right side up. How I'm gonna do this. And this thing weighs a lot. So let's see if I can do this without hitting the camera equipment. Okay, so the FLSUN logo is on my end here. But as you can see, this thing is super huge and it's super tall. I bet if I put it on the floor, it's going to be up to my chest in height. Okay, so facing me, FLSUN, we're going to put on the parallel rods now, which are these carbon fiber looking parallel rods. And I think they can go either way. Doesn't really give you a specific number to match up, so I guess you just stretch them out onto the ball bearings. Okay, so that's done. So as you can see, okay, so the first rod is on now, and I'm going to put on the second rod. So you just got to pull the springs apart and connect it, and it just goes on. The effector module. So that's the print head. The extruder hood facing forward. Okay, so this is the extruder head. So that should face forward. So the FLSUN logo is the forward, so it should be this way. So you put the ball bearings on top of that. So I'm just going to push these all the way to the top. Okay, and then again, it just goes on each of these ball bearings as well. I wonder how fragile this thing is, or if I can be pretty rough with it. Okay, there's one. There's two. And there's the third one. Okay, so there is some grease on there, that's for sure. Plug the cable into the top shell adapter board. The color of the connectors is corresponding. So you plug this into the corresponding colors at the top. Yes, the black ones don't matter, whichever way they go. Because there's two black connectors, so I guess you just plug each of them into whichever one. The filament detector sensor, connect the filament detector wire. I mean, I guess that's this white wire hanging here. Connect it. Okay, let's bring this down. This might make it easier. Okay, got it in there. Okay, so I will say that the images on the instructions are not that clear, and it's kind of hard to tell. But, you know, I think it's adequate. I mean, it's not too hard to figure out. Okay, so I'm going to push the bracket into the slot in the direction of the arrow. Okay, so we've got the filament detection sensor installed, and as you can see, it is lined up to the filament, the extruder at the top of the printer itself. Okay, so next is the filament holder. And then 2 M4 times 8. So M4 are probably these smaller ones. What do I need times 8? 3, 4, 5 when I only have 5. Do I have other screws? Okay, and this spool holder goes at the top of the printer, and because it's so high, I'm either going to need to bring the printer down or I'm going to have to get on a footstool to get up there. So let's see. Okay, so I'm probably going to bring the printer down. And as you can see, the printer is almost as tall as this table. Okay, so these are the M4 screws in here. So again, the instruction's not that clear. It doesn't tell you which are the M4 screws. Well, these are a little thicker, so I'm not sure these would fit in here. So I think the instructions aren't accurate here because these M4 screws will not work on this. I will say though that this FLSUN printer does not weigh as much as the X1 Carbon. I think it actually weighs about the same. But the X1 Carbon with the AMS on top of it is pretty heavy. But this thing is definitely taller. Okay, so now we have to install these 3 access covers. Okay, so I'm going to assume the cable is supposed to be flatter than this. Kind of worried that it's going to clamp the cable, but I guess it's okay. Okay, so we do have some extra screws, and now I'm going to put this printer back up on the table somehow. I'm going to have to turn it. Okay, so that's as far as that's going to go. Now I got to install the tablet and connect it to this cable, these 2 cables right here. But I am not sure what this wire is right here. Don't think that connects to the pad. Okay, one thing to remember, this thing is coming from Asia, so it is automatically set on 230. So if you live in the US, which I do, you're going to have to switch it to the correct voltage. So 115 is what I'm switching it to, so I don't blow out this machine's power supply. Okay, so the leveler switch, the level switch is at the top, so we got to plug that in up here. And again, you just do this once you set up the printer, and then you can go ahead and remove it until you need to bed level again. Oh, it's magnetic, so that makes it a lot easier. So you basically just lift it to the top and it magnetizes into the slot. Okay, I gotta make sure I didn't skip a step because I do have that cable that's not plugged in. Okay, so there is a cable that I need to connect at the bottom here, inside this leg. Okay. Okay, so we've got it installed now. Okay, so we've got the stand for this LCD. Okay, so all set up. Okay, so we do have some extra screws here, which is always nice to have. Okay, and I think we're ready for our first print. So I'm not sure how I'm gonna do this test print because I won't be able to put any filament up there because my camera gear up there is kind of blocking the way. This thing's a little bit tall, so I'm gonna see if I can maybe set this up somewhere. Get another table because this table is also not that sturdy and I'm pretty sure this thing's gonna shake a lot. And with a wobbly table, the print's not going to turn out that well. So you want to make sure it's got the best setup to test this printer out. So we'll be right back after I figure out how we're going to place this printer so that we can do a thorough test on its print capabilities and the quality it has. Okay, so stay tuned. Okay, so for this portion of the video, we are going to set up and test the FLSUN V400. So as you can see, we now have it on the floor, which is probably the sturdiest surface that I could find, but also be able to show the entire printer as we're going through this setup and this test run. So the FLSUN V400 is now on the floor, and as you can see, the LCD screen is right there in front of us. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this thing on. We're going to set it up, and then we are going to test out the print itself. Okay, so turning it on. And right now it's actually pretty quiet. I like how the FLSUN logo does light up. The LCD is super clear. Right now within the camera you're probably seeing a lot of reflection in it, but overall it is a really clear LCD. I do like the layout. There's an exclamation point, so I'm not sure what this is. Okay, so firmware, restart. Okay, so instructions. Click the configuration button. Which is the configuration? So configuration, and the screen is really responsive, so that's always nice. Click on bed level. And of course right now I do have the bed leveler component installed on the printer itself. And then click on calibrate. And then click on continue. So as you can see, it is doing the bed leveling. And right now I do not have any filament installed. I don't know if I actually should install filament right now, but it is super quiet. It should automatically disconnect and restart, which is what the instructions say. And it should automatically save the data. Okay, once that's done, click configuration, click bed level, click on bed mesh, and then click continue. Okay, so I guess it's going to level again. I'm not sure what the difference is between these two. Okay, so one is to calibrate, and I guess this one is the level it. Okay, and I guess the bed is level now, or it's captured all the data and saved it. So it did disconnect and restart. So I noticed during that leveling that it did click more in a certain spot, so I'm not sure if that's just because it wasn't level. But you just have to do this leveling once in a while, so once that's done, it says to disconnect the leveling switch. I'm just going to go ahead and remove that, unplug it. Okay, so now that that's removed, okay, so now we click on configuration, bed level, move Z0, and click continue. Okay, it says to take a piece of A4 paper and place it under the nozzle. Click Z calibration. Use Z plus or Z minus to adjust the nozzle height. And there should be a slight friction. So I'm not sure why we have to do this if it's got an auto bed leveler, but we'll see. Let's see, Z minus. Okay, I now have slight tension at 2.40 millimeters. Okay, then click the back button to return to the home page, and then click homing. Okay, so I'm not exactly sure why you have to do the Z adjustment if it has an auto leveler on there. Let me know in the comment section below if you know why we have to do that, because I'd like to know. Okay, so next thing is load the filament. So after replacing the different types of filament, please extrude an additional 1 meter of filament to completely extrude the remaining filament to reduce the probability of nozzle being clogged. It says to use the diagonal pliers to cut the filament at a 45-degree angle. Pass the filament through the top of the printer. Insert the filament into the extruder. Okay, so I have loaded the filament into it, and what's nice is as soon as I loaded the filament through this detector, the detector turns blue, so it did detect it. Okay, so the filament is now loaded, and I'm using the test filament, or the filament that came with the FLSUN V400. Okay, so I'm going to click on Actions, Extrude, and then Temperature. And then on the screen, we'll set the nozzle temperature above 180 degrees. We'll set it to 200. Okay, so you can hear the fans turning on. And return to the extrude interface. Push the filament down while clicking the extrude or load to load filament. Okay, we gotta let it heat, so extrude. Okay, we gotta wait till it heats up first. And this thing heats up pretty quickly. Okay, click the load. Okay, so it is extruding filament. Okay, so first printing. Okay, save the G code to a U disk and insert the U disk into the USB port on the pad. Click the refresh button and select the model to print. So, of course, the first thing I'm going to print is going to be what we usually print, which is a benchy. I'm going to get the USB that came with it, if I can find it, and then we'll go ahead and print the benchy. Okay, so now we've got the benchy G code on this little USB stick, and we are going to stick it in to the panel itself. And then once it's in there, we are going to click the refresh button. So it now sees the USB stick. So we'll click on that. Go to the test models. And then we'll click on the benchy. And then we'll print. Okay, and just like all the other tests that we did on the previous printers, like the X1 Carbon that's sitting over there, as well as my Ender 3 Pro, we are just going to use the default settings to print the benchy itself, and then we'll see how it turns out at the end. Now I will say that it did take a long time for the bed to heat up to 110 degrees Celsius, which I think on the Bamboo Lab X1C, it's really quick on heating up both the extruder and the bed. Now I will say that this printer is not as new user friendly as the X1C also. So as you noticed in that last print when I started it, the filament kind of just popped off the print head. So I did reload the filament, and hopefully this time I did it right and it will start printing. Okay, so the bed is heating back up again. Okay, so the print head now gave me an error message that it moved out of range. So I'm not exactly sure what that means. Okay, so it moved out of range again, so I'm not sure what that means. So I'm just going to troubleshoot and figure it out. Okay, so I'm going to assume that the issue is actually with the G code. So I'm just going to print one of the test prints that came with the USB stick itself. And one thing to note, on the USB stick comes with a lot of good files and a lot of helpful links and tutorials. So I think it's worth a read if you go on to the included USB stick and go through the material. But I'm going to go ahead and try printing the XYZ cube, the calibration cube. So let's go ahead and print that and see how it turns out. Now it's got to cool the plate down because it's extremely hot. So overnight I did end up playing with this FLSUN V400 printer some more, and I started experimenting with the desktop app and sending prints wirelessly to the printer. I also found out that the G code file that I used for the benchy print was incorrect, which is what I expected, and was set up to print on one of the Ender 3 Pros or my X1C printer itself. So as I expected, I corrected that G code and then attempted to print the benchy. Now what I found out there was that I needed to set this printer up in the desktop application as well. And I also ran into some problems there. So the file and the instructions that was provided by FLSUN were a little bit incorrect. So I did find a solution on Reddit from another user which walked me through that process of adding this printer to the desktop application, which then gave me the correct print bed size and settings for this printer on the application itself. After that, I attempted to print the Benchy, and as you can see from the print footage, that new file printed just perfectly. In fact, I gotta say that the quality of this print was amazing. Now from a speed perspective, I'd say it's a lot faster to print on the X1C versus the FLSUN. However, it's still very fast with the FLSUN V400. On the X1 Carbon, it took about 15 minutes to print a full Benchy, which is this one right here. Whereas on the FLSUN V400, it took about 35 minutes, which is still pretty fast compared to my old Ender 3 Pro. Quality-wise, I was impressed with the print quality across all three printers. Now when it comes to which one is the best, when I got the X1 Carbon, I was immediately impressed. Not only because the quality was great and just a little bit better than the Ender 3 Pro, but also because of the speed. Now when it comes to the FLSUN V400, I gotta say I am super impressed because I think the quality is just as good, if not better, than the X1 Carbon. In fact, I think the quality is just a little bit better on this FLSUN V400 versus the X1 Carbon, which is surprising. Now from a speed perspective, the FLSUN is just a little bit slower than the X1 Carbon, but only by half. Now the other thing that makes the FLSUN stand out is it is extremely quiet. I don't know about you, but when I'm printing on the X1 Carbon, it is super loud, the fans are loud, the print is loud, and just the print head moving across the tracks is loud. But with the FLSUN V400, it's virtually silent. The only thing you can hear slightly is the fans themselves. But overall, the printer is super quiet. Now, if you compare the quality of the Benchies, it's very hard to tell the difference between the X1 Carbon print and the FLSUN V400. But there are some very minor details and flaws I see in the X1 Carbon. Now I know a lot of that can be corrected through settings and just maintenance, but right off the bat with the default settings, the print from the FLSUN V400 looks amazingly accurate, smooth, and you can almost hardly see the print lines in some of this boat compared to the one from the X1 Carbon. Now again, that's just nitpicking, and you can probably just fix all of those with settings and just tweaking your printer. But based on factory settings, I think the FLSUN is just slightly above the X1 Carbon from a print quality perspective. Now from a speed perspective, the X1C is still clearly the winner, and it's amazing how fast it can print at such high quality. Now going back to the FLSUN V400, not only is it a fast printer, but what I like about it is that it's quiet, it's got a larger print bed, and of course, you can print larger items on it. I will also say that prints do stick to this bed plate a lot better as well, which can be good or bad depending on what you're printing. So those are the pros for the FLSUN. Con-wise, I think it takes too long for the bed to heat up. And also, if you're new to 3D printing, it's going to take a little bit more figuring out than the X1 Carbon, which was just plug it in and go. Now going back to performance, the FLSUN V400 is a beast. It's capable of printing at speeds of up to 400 millimeters per second, and based on what I've seen in other reviews and also what I've seen here in my own tests, it's just simply stunning. The prints are precise with a smooth surface finish, and the level of detail is simply amazing. Now I've printed a variety of objects using this printer, and the results have been nothing short of impressive. I will also say that I love the desktop app because it just provides so much information, customization, and just detail on the print itself and allows you to do so many different things. So in conclusion, I will say that I am thoroughly impressed with this FLSUN V400. It's a well-built machine, seems reliable so far, it's user-friendly if you have experience with 3D printing. Now if you're new, you might have to figure some things out, but it is a printer that drives and delivers fantastic results. I love that it's got a large build volume, it's got the dual extruder system, it's got an amazing and responsive touchscreen, it's ultra quiet, and it's still ultra fast when it comes to 3D prints. So if you're in the market for a new 3D printer, the FLSUN V400 is definitely worth considering, especially because right now it retails only for $849, which is not too expensive and well worth the quality and the print capability that you get. So that's it for today's review and unboxing of the FLSUN V400 3D printer. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment below. Thank you for watching, and please make sure you do like this video and subscribe, and make sure you ring that bell icon to get notified when I post new content. I'll see you in the next one.